Welcome to the 217 Recovery Podcast.
If you don't make mistakes, you won't learn.
With your host, Corey Winfield.
You know how fish is bad is you can't put it on pizza.
And special guests, Justin Burke.
I said something about that to our master radio broadcaster, and he said that he didn't hear nothing.
And Mitchell O'Brien.
I think to introduce people, we should tell them a little bit about ourselves.
Got your ass.
It is the 6th of August, 2024. My name's Corey Winfield.
I'm Justin Burke.
Mitchell O'Brien.
Welcome to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Going to get deep in recovery today. Mitch, you had quite a day yesterday. I want to talk to you about that. Justin, you had a weekend that...
It was a little stressful.
It was a weekend. And
Yeah.
I had a morning today. I was throwing away my box because I had protein bars that I'm eating. And the box was empty, so I throw it away. But I don't just throw it away because that takes up too much space. Mm-hmm. So you got to break it down, fold it up. Well, that brought me back to a time when I lived in Arkansas, and I used to break down my cases.
Okay.
And I would think like, oh, okay, I'll put them in the trash that way and save room because down there you didn't have deposit. You still don't. And so you just throw your cans away. Yeah, they call themselves the natural state. Like, that's not natural.
Natty Ice?
Oh, Milwaukee's best ice. It was gross, man. Like, the first few are just difficult. But I use them as chasers anyway, so it didn't matter.
Yeah.
But it was gross. But I used to break it down, man, break the boxes down. And then I remember one time I realized, because you see my trash and you just see on the outside, it'd be like Milwaukee's best ice. And then just nothing but cans, like falling out of it, and it was bad. So I remember one time I was just like, oh, maybe I'll break the box down and rip it like open to turn it inside out so that you just see the brown and not the actual crap that I was drinking. And this time too in Arkansas, like you could not have a lid on your trash can. Mm. I know that makes no sense because like dogs and animals and raccoons and neighbors will just come rummaging through your trash. I've seen it, and he yelled at this one guy. I'm like, get out of there. Nothing good in there. And yeah, so you couldn't have a lid on it. If you had a lid on it, they wouldn't touch your trash can. And finally, they barely passed this vote of let's have a trash can with a lid on it that the truck can actually pick up.
Right.
Like they were old school in it, man. And this was 2011, 2012.
A guy riding on the back.
Yeah, like actually physically grabbing the trash can, and I mean, and it barely passed. Like people were pissed. Like, I have to put this out by the road now, and like I was, yeah, hell yeah, and you can put your trash in. Nobody knows what's in it. Maybe that's why they were mad. They're like, I want to see what my neighbor's throwing away over there,
so I can rob him later.
I don't know what they're not throwing away. It's condoms. I don't think they sell those in Arkansas, but.
We just did say it was a natural state.
I'll tell you what, man. One day I'm going to get into the Arkansas stuff, like after, but I'm going to have some good therapy set up before and after.
Yeah, you should.
It was very traumatic. I was kind of going over my little, I called it something else, but my little people biker gang that I saw down there, and it was the craziest because it was like it wasn't even. It was like mini bikes, man, and they had them like painted up like Harleys and like.
That's awesome for them.
Yeah. And I made some jokes that is very insensitive, but at the time it was funny, I think. But it was because I had
didn't age well.
some jokes. And then when I was in a treatment the last time, we had this guy who was a security guard, and he was going to tell everybody what was going on. Well, they had these things called room checks that they started because this chick from like downstate wanted to hook up. She was knocking on all the guys' doors. So then they were like, oh my gosh, there's women sneaking into men's rooms. So then they started doing these room checks. Well, my friend Rob, who was in 217 at the very beginning, obviously he was in the same room.
Obviously.
Thank you. And they came in and he was like pissed about it. He's like, no, I'll be sleeping. Nobody's coming in checking, da, 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 da. So I said, Rob, stop being so angry. Let's have fun with this. And so we set up this whole skit where this other guy, who I'm not going to mention, was in the bed too. and I jumped in the bed, and we were looking at magazines, and we were acting like we were doing Rob a favor. You know what I'm saying? Like one on each side, and like the covers were moving. And he comes and he beats on our door, and he had told us earlier, like, I have a key, so I'll open it if you don't answer it. So we're just waiting for him. And he beating on. He's like, I'm gonna open the door. And we're just like, get ready. And he opens the door, and there we are, and just to the extreme of it, with the noises and the acting. And he's like, what the, and so he leaves. And then he wasn't, and he said something else, and he came back and he said something, and then Rob was just pissed. And so Rob goes out to the balcony, and he's like leaning off it, yelling at the guy. And the guy's like, yeah, well, don't F with me. I'm your worst nightmare. And I'm just like, whoa, like, buddy, you don't know what my worst nightmare is. And then I get out and I'm like, you don't even know what my worst nightmare is. And I was like, you know what? I was threatened once by the electric company, and they said they're going to shut my shit off, and they did. And I'm scarred from this. I was like, I don't respond to threats well, and I'm going crazy. And then, so we filed a grievance on them. And at that time, this place, I think they kind of cared, but the HR lady met with me and my friend Lance, who was working downstate for a little bit. They called me in, and Lance was like intern guy, just kind of stepped into the role of like, let me intern under this HR lady. And it's like, so what happened? And then I went through the threat thing. And then I was like, how do I know that I didn't use this word, but little person biker gang isn't going to kidnap me, hold me in their basement, and start doing sexual things to me for weeks, and then no one knows. And I'd start just this elaborate story about how this little person biker gang was going to do bad things to me. But it all goes back to the Arkansas story of watching these people, not these people, but the group of gentlemen. I think one thing they didn't have was a woman on the back. That would have been sweet. That would have been, if they could have souped up their mini bikes to be even badasser, and
I think
have a full-size woman on the back.
The way that your brain was working so complex at this point in your sobriety, that was a good sign.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm going with. That was a good sign.
I think his brain's always worked like that.
I know, I'm just saying,
too.
like, you lose a little function there when we're in the heaviest parts of it. So,
yeah. Imagine what I could have been, huh?
There's that whole little comedian guy. I can't think of his name right offhand.
Brad something.
Yeah, and you were telling us that story.
The Apple one?
No, when he was trying to get over the baby gate. Yeah. And he was like,
Yeah, like lifts his arms up, like,
right.
let me up.
Help me out. I just want to get over this gate.
It's hard to look sexy when you need help over a baby gate. Yeah.
But not on a mini bike. You look sexy as hell. Especially if you have it looking like a Harley. Nah, but yesterday, Mitch, you had quite the day. You had like 4 people you took to or from treatment. Like you were just bam, 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 bam. You were driving all over northern Michigan. And I could kind of tell when you came back to work, you had like this. I was going to say it like Justin, but I won't. You had like this aura about you. And I think that is from the recovery coaching that you were doing on the way. Because when I was talking with a gentleman that was here and we were kind of talking about recovery stuff, and you just like jumped right in like, yep, I've been talking about this all day. Like it's fresh on my mind, But that's the kind of aura that you had going, and it was just like this vibe you were giving off, and you just seemed like you accomplished a lot. Like when you went home, I think you felt damn good about yourself.
Felt tired.
Yep, and damn good about yourself.
I mean, it was a good wore out. Like I accomplished stuff that day. I went home and I earned my rest, But I'm glad it looked like that, because I walked in here feeling just like
mentally drained.
Yeah, like I used it, Didn't lose it. I used it. So
it'll drain you. It really will. Yeah. And a lot of people don't understand that. And a lot of people are like, oh, I want to be a recovery coach. And like, okay, that's cool. But take that time for yourself, like have that time to just come down for a minute, and get back in your own life and things you got going on. They say, gratitude lists are great.
Yep.
You know, even to this day, you know, if you had to grab a pad of paper and write 10 things you're grateful for and just think, wow, like these things wouldn't be possible if I wasn't in recovery. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to remember that. But yeah, like a lot of people too will take on other people's problems, you know, and they don't know how to deal with that. And, you know, oh, this person's living in their storage unit, you know, we got to do something about it. Well, what we can do about it is what we can do about it. You know, like you can make effort to do something about it, but it's not always going to work out.
No.
You know, you can't always help that person immediately, but there's some steps that you can take to maybe speed up the process. And, you know, an hour here is an hour here, you know, like an hour that the person doesn't have to stay in the storage unit, you know, longer, then that's good.
Yeah.
You know, and some people will just laugh at it. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah.
I don't know who would, but doesn't agree with me.
Sick and twisted person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Insensitive person.
Yeah, jerk.
Real a-hole.
Yeah. D-bag.
No, yesterday the rides were really good. One of them was a little bit of a struggle, but what I tell myself at that point is I was that person at one point, you know? And because once you're doing certain people in certain states of mind or certain stages of sobriety or not sobriety, you're going to not get as much of the recovery coaching through because they're not in a state of mind to receive it at all.
Yeah.
You know, physically, their brain isn't going to hear what you're saying, you know. So, you know, I'm saying you know a lot because I'm trying to think about it.
Obviously.
I had a couple of really good ones yesterday, and then one that was more difficult, but it was still rewarding because I needed a ride at that point at one, you know, long time ago and didn't get it. So I was able to give that to somebody, and I enjoyed it. And I slept damn good last night.
Hell yeah. But I remember those days it was like that when I was on the road a lot, and I just saw it in yesterday, and I was proud. I was proud.
You remember your days on the road?
God, yes. You know, 5 a.m. getting up, beating the sun up. Not beating my son up, but beating the sunrise.
That's him. He does-
I've been hanging out with Justin too long today.
Open hand.
Whoa.
No, and Justin, you had like a tough weekend, man. Like you were telling me about it yesterday. It was just like, whoa.
Yeah, it was. I went to go do my endorsement training for my motorcycle class that I had to schedule back in like March. And because they just fill up really fast because there's just not enough classes to meet the needs of everybody that wants to take this class. And so I went to go take the class on Saturday, and it was in the heat. Like, it was hot. Humidity, sun beating down on us all day. We're in this parking lot, and the parking lot's all extra black too. You know, it wasn't one of the old dingy ones that it wasn't quite so black, so it didn't absorb some heat.
So it was like sitting on that thing that they put the burgers on at the fast food restaurant to keep them warm.
Yeah, it felt like that. like it was so hot. Like, our motorcycles were only like 250s, just baby bikes, really.
Mm-hmm.
And you could tell where the kickstand was already starting to go into the parking lot.
It was like melting.
Yeah.
No.
And it was crazy how hot it was. So I get back to my mom's house. I'm sitting there. I'm like, well, I'm going to take a shower. I go take a shower. And I come back out. I sit down at her little kitchen table for a little bit. I'm like, I'm probably going to go upstairs and just sit down, relax for a little bit. And then she kind of got pissy. Like, for unknown reasons. Like, and then started saying, well, I'm making all this food this weekend and nobody will do it. I was like, Mom, I didn't ask you to do all this for me. Like, you're doing this out of the kindness of your heart and you're trying to throw it in my face. And I kind of felt a little discouraged about it. And then I finally, I was upstairs for about 20 minutes. I finally just went and sat outside. I'm like, fuck it. You know, at this point, why be comfortable? It kind of irritated me enough. I almost left and just came back up here. But I didn't want to drive from Traverse City all the way back down there for my class on Sunday.
Right.
And So I just went outside and I didn't really speak to her for the next 2 hours. And she came outside at one point and was like, you know, Justin, I understand you're tired. You've been out in the sun all day. You go sit outside. I didn't respond to her. I just sat there in my chair, watched the Olympics off my phone because I heard the BMX bike races or whatever was really good this year. So I wanted to watch it. And so I just sat there and watched it off my phone outside in the heat, sweating more. That I was trying to prevent. And I'm a fat guy. I don't like the heat already.
Obviously.
And so Sunday comes around and it's like this same thing, you know? It's like I get back and I pass my class. I get back to the house and I'm like, I looked at the time. I'm like, you know, I'd really like to leave here by 6 o'clock. I want to get home by 8, 9 o'clock. Because I had to stop get mail from my old roommate's apartment, and I just sat there and I looked at the time. I'm like, what the hell is she doing? Like, really? Like, what's going on? And it finally about 6 o'clock, she finally put the burgers on the grill. Man, and I told her at that point, I was like, I'm eating and leaving as soon as I'm done eating. Like, I'm just not going to sit here and hang out. Like, I'm not. It's already past the time I wanted to leave. So I spent all weekend irritated to the max. And that's what it's like to hang out with people that still use substances. They don't care about anyone else's time frame or schedule. The only person they care about is themselves, and it's really sad. You know, it's heartbreaking to be like, you know, because if we're all sober and you said you had to leave at a certain time to go home and be with Parker, we'd be like, okay, well, we'll make sure it's done by then, you know, not at the time you got to leave. Oh, we're just finally going to do this. Well, deuces, I'm out of here, you know. It makes you irritated. It makes you pissed off, you know, and it just makes me wonder why I still put myself in that situation sometimes. You know, because if it wasn't my mom, would I even hang out with said person? Probably not. Because it's the letdowns.
Yeah, your mom.
Yeah.
Do you think, okay, I know for a fact, and Mitch, you can probably back me up on this too. If you would have said to said person, your mom,
Yeah.
how about you don't crack that until after we have them burgers? Them burgers would have been made at 7:30 in the morning.
Probably.
You know,
Yeah.
like they wouldn't have, like that would have been like, okay, what do I have to do so I can have that? Because that's the most important thing to them. And there's one of said person in my life, it's not my mom, that thinks, well, I don't have a problem because I'm not like Corey.
Right.
I'm not that bad. I don't have the shakes. I didn't have to go to the hospital because my liver failed. So I am not a bad person, because that's what a lot of people think, that they're bad people.
Yeah.
But they're not bad people. It's addiction. Mm-hmm. And the addiction takes over a lot of things. But a lot of people will justify, oh, I'm not that bad because I'm not shaking every day.
Right. And then there was another incident that came up too this weekend, because my brother tried changing his mailing address the day he went into jail. She's like, you know, I hounded him for 2 weeks about doing this, so that way if something happened, he would be out here to take care of it. I'm like, don't you understand how addiction works, Mom? We don't care about that shit. Yeah, he went and did it the day of. That's what we do. Be lucky he even did that.
Right.
Like, a lot of times we don't care about that dumb shit. Like, that's behind us. We're worried about the bottle or the bag. Take your pick, depending on what your cup of tea is, you know? And I'm just like, you have to understand how this works. Like, both your kids have addiction issues, and you're just, what, done with life? Done doing it? Like, that's not how it goes. Like, he will get better. Like, you have to believe that he's going to get better. Or otherwise you don't. Like, what are you doing? You don't have no hope, no faith in your own kid to get better and to do better things? You may as well start buying a burial plot now then. That's what I told her, and she kind of looked at me like I was being too harsh. I'm like, well, it's the truth. I'm like, that's what you're saying that he's gonna end up doing.
And I wonder if she beats herself up a little. And maybe that's kind of the thing, because there's always something that we're using for. There's something that, abandonment issues or, mistakes we made in the past. And
Right.
once we get drunk or high or whatever, we don't remember them. Or we get that, fuck it.
Yeah.
Who cares? I'll just keep drinking. I don't even care.
And
And if she looks at it like, man, I know a lot of parents do. They'll be like, I messed up and I shouldn't have let them do this. And I shouldn't have had this at their party. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have done that. And there's nothing they can do about it now. But a lot of parents will beat themselves up. And I think that's why a lot of people like to keep it down in the basement. Nothing to see here.
Yeah.
No problem. Don't tell nobody. And I wonder if part of that is something that she has deep down, is like, oh my God, I screwed Justin up totally.
Well, I think a lot of it with my brother though is just the fact that, he's been getting in trouble since he was 13. Started with stealing a carton of cigarettes from Meyer, or maybe a couple packs. I don't really remember. But remember when they used to have the little cigarette carousel things? Mm-hmm. Before you checked out? Yeah, he got caught stealing some cigarettes from one of those and ended up getting in trouble. Like a year later, he wrote a bomb threat at the school on a piece of paper that said there's a bomb in the school, and like kind of threw it up on the bleachers, and someone seen him toss the note up there and went and checked it out, and it said there was a bomb in the school. I mean, I'm laughing, but it's really not funny, Like, he got expelled from school, and it's just been an ongoing thing his whole life. So I wonder if sometimes she does sit back and wonder, well, where did I go wrong? Where did I mess up? And a lot of it is, in my eyes, he was babied his whole life. He didn't really have to do nothing. He just didn't. He was the baby of the family. So he got that, like, get out of jail free card. She's always bailed him out.
Then I wonder if she just, looks back at that. And it seems like it would kind of suck or hurt, like as parents now, I don't know. We know that our parents aren't perfect. We know that nobody's perfect. We know that everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
But I would assume, are going to try to be better. And some of the mistakes that we felt they made, we'll try not to make those, and we'll make our own mistakes along the way too.
We sure will.
But I don't know. There's something there, I think, where that would keep somebody else like stuck a little.
Yeah. Because she even made the comment to me, was she was like, well, when he gets out of jail, he ain't coming here. I don't know where he's going. I'm like, okay, I do. Hopefully he comes and lives with me, and hopefully I could show him a good path, to live, because he talks about how he wants to be in recovery, how he wants to do these things. But being stuck down there where there's nothing,
Yeah.
there's no employment opportunity, there's just nothing down there.
There's absolutely nothing in Baldwin, Michigan.
No, there's not. You went through there, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I made sure not to go through there because I noticed there was nothing there.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, we want to go to like a place where we can eat food,
That video.
not roadkill.
Yeah,
That was so perfect.
yeah, there's really nothing
Talking about
there.
the Spike Brothers video. If you haven't seen it, 217recovery.com. There's a picture of Baldwin in there where Justin's from.
And so I've talked to him a lot since like he's been in jail and stuff, and he's just like, I need someone to give me the opportunity like you have. And I'm just like, I'll do it once. Like, I offered the last time you were in jail to do this for you, and you chose not to take it. It's the last time.
But my
I'm gonna do it.
dogs, bro.
Yeah, well, that's what I heard. But, I'm in a spot where he could bring his little dog,
Whoa.
and his little dog's cool. Yeah, I love his little dog. He's a fun little dude. He's just relaxed, chill.
Try to feed it cats, right?
Yeah, I tell him to get the kitty all the time. Because he loves cats. He loves playing with them, He was raised around cats. So they're just like a normal, they're like a cousin to him, And so
Like
He
step siblings.
no step siblings, dude.
What? No way.
But no, I just told him, I was like, I'll help you, but you try bringing your crazy wife up here, you will be gone.
Well, where's she gonna go, Justin?
I don't know. She was down in Detroit area. Like the last month he was out, still on bond, and then he goes to jail, and all of a sudden she's back in Baldwin, trying to visit him every day and stuff. And I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? Like, she was the town bicycle the last time you were in jail.
What does that mean?
Everybody gets a ride.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, what are you doing? Perfect drop. And I was like, you just need to not worry about anybody. You need to worry about yourself and become extremely selfish in that sense, Worry about how Josh is going to take care of Josh and how Josh doesn't want to live on his little $800 Social Security check because he broke his neck. Like, there's work you can do that doesn't involve breaking your back to do it. Like, there's work all over the place. Like, get the hell out of here and make a life for yourself and actually do good for yourself. And I just hope he takes it, and does good things like I did, and I just hope to see him actually do good one day.
Well, good luck with that, Justin.
Yeah.
It's a lot of responsibility to take on.
He'll be all right.
So you come home and he's been using, what are you going to say?
Kick his fucking ass.
Overhand slap.
You're going to...
Nah, I'll literally kick his ass.
All right, so you'll fight him.
Yeah.
What if he calls the cops on you?
He ain't gonna call no cops.
What if he does?
No, he won't.
What if his wife does?
His wife won't even be around.
Uh-huh.
I'll dig a hole out in the back 40 for her.
All right.
All right, now we're going back to court. Mitchell.
Everybody's been talking about murder lately. I'm like, guys, no more murder.
Who's been talking about murder?
So I went to the beach with some people, and the one person wouldn't stop talking about it. Every time it was murder this, murder that. I was like, no murder. That was my Saturday. So I was having a real rough Saturday at the beach.
People saying, were they saying I'm gonna kill that kitty? I mean, what were they? How were they saying it? Like, no, I want to murder that person over there.
And then yesterday, one of my rides, the difficult one, it was, I'm gonna murder this and murder that. I was like, we're gonna stop the murder now. Or no more murder talk. We're going to treatment. And it's just everybody. This murder happening around me. I'm like, I just want people to live, love each other. It's like the 60s in this bubble.
We're trying to not murder people. Trying to have people get their lives back, and yeah. Well, we don't know, Your Honor, if this was a real podcast or not.
This is satire.
So Justin, we don't condone anything he says.
Only thing that I said was
Nothing
I'd
that
just
he
dig a
says.
hole. I didn't say what I was going to put in the hole. I just said I'd dig a hole.
You dig it for her, so she can put anything she wants in that hole.
That's right.
Yeah.
Like her whole self.
Whatever she sees fit.
If she chooses to.
I told her not to put that plastic bag on her head
Right.
and get in that hole and bury herself, but she did it. She's crazy.
Right. She is crazy. Like, literally crazy.
See, it's the murder and the plastic bag. That's not the first time that's come up either. I'm worried about you guys.
Okay, the plastic bag thing was kind of like just a suggestion.
I didn't tell her to snort.
wake
like,
somebody up.
Who is annoying you enough to keep these in your head?
I didn't tell her to snort the tablespoon of water.
We're back there. Speaking of water, I have to hit the plants today.
Isn't that a Friday thing? It's Tuesday.
I can't remember when I did it last week. It happened, but I just can't remember when.
All right. Well, I attempted to do a good podcast today. I don't know. I mean, maybe there was some recovery stuff in there. I'm hoping.
There was.
But just an early recovery, if you get the thoughts in your head, just keep them there. Let them be thoughts.
Yeah.
Your brain's lying to you. The high is not that good.
No.
The
It's
drunk,
trash.
the buzz, it's not that good. And you'll
Hangovers
experience,
suck.
and you'll know it. The minute you make that bad choice, you're going to realize, what did I do? And it's not even that good.
Right.
But if it does happen, you can always come back. You know, keep trying. Don't give up on yourself. I had a woman tell me the other day she wasn't worth it, and I think everybody's worth it.
Yeah, I actually got a text message last week that said the same thing. I'm just not worth it. I said, yes, you are worth it. Recovery is worth it.
Yeah, you'd be surprised at what you can be and what you can become.
Right.
So anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you again at the time of my choosing.
Later.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to the 217 Recovery Podcast. Listen to over 900 episodes on the 217 Recovery app that's free in your app store or online at 217recovery.com.